Hey guys, TyKevin83 here, and I'm going to bring you another video today. This time I'm going to teach you, yes you, the viewer, how to build your very own TASBot at home type setup using the runs.tas.bots website, archiving available console verifications, things that you can use a TASBot-like device to play back tool-assisted movies, and use that with Extremes' Game Boy interface and the Swiss utility developed by Extremes and EmuKitted to play back those tasks. So we're gonna like go through the whole setup for doing console verification like TASBot does at home. So the first thing you're gonna need if you're gonna do that is you're gonna need Swiss. Because in order to launch GBI and launch any other GameCube homebrew, the easiest way to do that is to have your GameCube boot into Swiss, which hopefully anybody doing with GBI already, with if they're loading GBI from the SD card. So you want to go to the Swiss website and go to the latest release and go download Swiss. And then when you download Swiss, you're going to want to throw that on your SD card and call it autoexec.dol so it automatically boots into it. And we'll also go to the Game Boy Interface wiki and download the latest version of Game Boy Interface. So let's grab our SD card now and let's throw those files on the SD card. No Windows, there is not anything wrong with my SD card. It's going to work perfectly fine for this because we've got here now our downloaded Swiss. We need to go into the dol and grab swiss.dol and drag that out to the SD card. And that's where I have autoexec.dol here already, so I just delete that. Let's just say I'm updating Swiss or something. I'll just rename it autoexec.dol. I might have to actually type properly to do that. And then I'll do the same thing for GBI. I'm going to go into the GBI folder here. I'm going to grab gbi.dol into the GBI folder. And I'm going to grab gbisr.dol into the GBI folder. Then I'm going to grab a run that I want to play back. This is where the runs.tas.bot website comes in. So you go to runs.tas.bot, you go to runs console verifications, and for this, because we're going to be using GBI, we'll need a Game Boy movie, so I'll check all of the Game Boy platforms to show those movies. And let's just do a really technical one. Let's do the console playback link. So you want to click for console playback, and that'll download a pre-packaged archive for doing console playback of these runs. And then you're going to open that up, and you're just going to take GBI, and you're going to drag that folder onto your SD card. I'm not going to do it here now because I've got a couple extra settings that you won't need for your GBI for my studio production. But you'll drag it on there, and it'll give you the settings you need and the movie file itself. So if we go in here and look at that, actually, there's the movie file with the timestamps of each input. It's going to get sent for the movie. And the direction to the configuration for GBI of where to load the movie, and some stuff about the input viewer. So we're going to go over here to the SD card, and you can see now I've got a link for GBI, GBISR, which is going to have our movie playback information, and on the root of our SD card we have autoexec for Swiss, which is going to let us load GBI. So now that our SD card is prepared, we're going to eject it. Thanks, Windows. And I've put it in the GameCube now. So I'm going to do Pokemon Blue glitchless, right? So I've got a Pokemon Blue cartridge in my GameCube, you'll need an official cartridge, and you'll need the SD card in the GameCube. And if anybody is watching and isn't aware, there's this thing called the SD Media Launcher that you can buy from Detel that allows you to do this sort of SD loading from the GameCube. So now I'm actually going to transition to my Game Boy player. Hazy Games, and I'm going to boot up the GameCube. And there's one more step here before you play a movie back. When you have a cartridge, a real cartridge, it's going to have save data. And we need the save data to match what the emulator has by its defaults. And for Pokemon games, there is a way we can do that without any additional hardware. So I'm going to use the normal GBI that doesn't have any movie configuration to go in there and erase the save data. So we're going to do up B Z. That's the up select B on GBI, and clear the save data. Now the cartridge will match the state that the movie is expecting to play back at the beginning, and we just have to reboot the GameCube. And now this time, instead of loading the GBI with no settings, we're going to load GBI SR, which has our configuration to play back the movie Pokemon Blue glitchless. Now that we've prepared the cartridge, we've prepared Game Boy interface with the correct settings, and we've prepared everything, we're going to run GBI SR. And if it all works correctly, you should see I am not pressing any buttons on my GameCube controller, and you can see the button presses coming through on the input viewer. Now, your input viewer won't look exactly like that. It's not going to have its own little separate cutout. I've cropped it around especially for my layout to do that, but you'll see yours in the upper left the way I have it configured next to the game feed. And if you remove that option, you can have it over the top middle. So yeah, that is the whole process. All you need to do, it's 7 minutes, guys. 7 minutes is all you need to build your own TASBot at home if you already have the SD Media Launcher set up to use GBI to do speedruns. And there are 7 movies available now from 5 different authors on the runs.tas.bot site. There's Mickey's Chase. There's 2 Pokemon Blue movies, one from me and one from GIFX. There's Crystal Glitchless. This one, Crystal Glitchless, I'm going to transition back here. Crystal Glitchless, I'll go back to the top. Yeah, Mickey's Chase, the 2 blue ones. Crystal Glitchless does not work for everyone's cartridge. And then there's the 2 yellow ones and Link's Awakening DX. Which Link's Awakening DX, you might need your own cart flasher to set up the RAM, or you might need a dead battery to get it to work. But there's more of that explained also. One of the great things about the Game Boy runs is even if this video doesn't cover everything, or like if a run is missing the 4 console playback link, you can learn how to export it yourself by going to the full Game Boy verification guide that has all the detailed instructions on how to recreate the movie files from scratch. But this movie is just really explaining how you would set it up if you don't even want to go through that process. Everything's just pre-packaged for you and ready to load up. So I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.